The story of the Chevrolet AK series begins long before its first engine ever turned over, rooted in a United States that was transforming faster than any nation had in the early 20th century. The country was shifting from isolated rural communities into a vast network of connected towns linked by roads, ambition, and a new culture of mobility. In the late 1930s, families, workers, merchants, and soldiers needed a machine that could be more than transportation. They needed something that could haul, endure, and evolve with the nation. From that need emerged a vehicle that would not only define an era but quietly ignite a revolution in American transportation, the Chevrolet AK series pickup. It did not appear with fanfare or prophetic announcement. It arrived as a tool: steel, bolts, leaf springs, and a straight-six engine wrapped in a utilitarian shell. But behind its simplicity was a design philosophy that would shape the next 80 years of American trucks. Before the AK series, pickups were still seen as work wagons, closer to farm equipment than automobiles. They were rugged but crude, capable but uncomfortable, strong but slow. Chevrolet engineers wanted to change that. They envisioned a truck that could serve farmers, businesses, and normal families without feeling like a compromise. The AK series needed to ride smoothly enough for long rural roads, be powerful enough for hauling, be reliable under any condition, and still feel modern, something America had not yet seen. By 1940, the lines of the AK were taking shape in the design studios of General Motors. This was a time when American automotive styling was undergoing a dramatic transformation toward sleeker, more aerodynamic contours. Harley Earl's influence on GM design encouraged longer fenders, flowing lines, and an appearance that felt both sturdy and sophisticated. The AK series inherited these sensibilities, standing apart from every pickup that came before it. The rounded cab, the prominent grille with horizontal bars, and the sculpted hood created a machine that looked confident, almost elegant, without losing its working-class purpose. For the first time, a pickup truck in America carried an aesthetic identity. Under the hood, the engineers placed the iconic 216 cubic inch Thriftmaster inline-six, an engine known for its smoothness and longevity. It was not a racing motor, nor was it intended to impress with top speed, but it delivered dependable torque and could withstand thousands of hours of constant use without failing. Farmers appreciated its simplicity, mechanics valued its accessibility. It was an engine built to be repaired in the field with basic tools, a fact that would prove critical during the war years. The AK series gave owners something that previous trucks lacked: a feeling of confidence that their vehicle would survive whatever task the day demanded. The interior of the truck also represented a shift in philosophy. Instead of treating the cabin as an afterthought, Chevrolet designed it with car-like comfort. The seat was wide and supportive, visibility was excellent, and the ergonomics reflected a new sensitivity toward the driver's experience. For many Americans, it was the first truck that did not punish them during long drives or endless workdays. This detail may seem small, but it transformed the entire identity of the pickup. It became more than a farm or industrial tool; it became a vehicle that everyday people could use, and even enjoy. The AK series rolled into dealerships in 1941, a year that would soon change American history forever. Early buyers were drawn to its balanced mix of strength, comfort, and modern styling. It quickly found a home on farms across the Midwest, in factories across the Northeast, and in small businesses throughout the country. It was used by carpenters, butchers, grocers, plumbers, ranchers, and mechanics. The truck became a familiar silhouette on the roads of America, a dependable companion that represented the effort and optimism of working-class families. But the timing of its release would place the AK series into a much larger story. As tensions escalated in Europe and Asia, the United States was inching closer toward war. The Chevrolet AK series was about to evolve from a civilian workhorse into a machine that would support one of the largest industrial mobilizations in human history. When the U.S. entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor, every automaker in the nation was ordered to halt civilian production. The factories that once built vehicles for families and small businesses were converted into war production plants overnight. Chevrolet, with its vast network of manufacturing facilities, became a central pillar of the American wartime production effort. The AK series platform, already known for durability, became the foundation for countless military adaptations. The military versions lacked the chrome and stylistic flourishes of the civilian trucks. They featured blackout lights, olive drab paint, reinforced suspensions, and strengthened load-bearing components. Yet beneath the utilitarian exterior, the essence of the AK series remained unchanged: reliable, strong, and easy to maintain. These trucks transported ammunition, food, fuel, and supplies across bases, ports, and airfields. They served in logistics convoys, engineering units, and medical support teams. Although the AK series did not receive the same fame as the larger GMC CCKW Deuce and a Half, it was an unsung hero of the American supply chain, proving vital to daily operations across the domestic and Allied war network. Soldiers often remarked that the AK was easy to trust. Its engine started in cold weather, dry weather, humid climates, and dusty fields. Its chassis tolerated abuse and rough terrain. Its simplicity meant that breakdowns were rare and repairs were fast. The truck became a symbol of American industrial reliability, an image that would be deeply ingrained into American culture after the war. By 1945, the world was changing again. With the end of the war, the United States needed to return to normal life, and Chevrolet was ready to resume civilian production. When the factories reopened, millions of Americans were hungry for vehicles. The nation had grown more mobile, more connected, and more ambitious than before. Families were moving to suburbs, starting businesses, expanding farms, and building new communities. They needed machines that could keep up. The AK series captured this need perfectly. Its pre-war design was still modern, its engineering was still proven, and its reputation had been strengthened by wartime service. Returning soldiers recognized the truck the moment they saw it. They had used its military variants in training camps and supply depots. This familiarity gave Chevrolet a huge advantage in the booming post-war market. The truck now symbolized opportunity. For many veterans, purchasing a Chevrolet pickup meant investing in a new life. They used the AK series to build homes, transport materials, start small businesses, and support their families. It became part of the post-war American dream, an icon of progress, resilience, and possibility. Yet what truly made the AK series revolutionary was the shift it triggered in the entire American automotive industry. Its combination of comfort, style, and practicality redefined what a pickup could be. Competitors like Ford and Dodge were forced to respond. The American truck market became a battleground for innovation, and the AK series was the spark that lit the fuse. As the 1940s came to an end, the AK series quietly passed the torch to its legendary successor, the advanced design pickup of 1947. But without the AK, that next revolution could not have happened. The AK series introduced the formula that modern pickups still follow today: a strong chassis, a comfortable interior, a reliable engine, and a balance between work and everyday life. Even decades later, collectors admire the AK series not for flashy performance but for its authenticity. The truck remains a symbol of an America that built its own destiny, an America powered by hands, steel, determination, and the belief that no obstacle was too big. In the curves of its fenders and the hum of its inline-six, one can still feel the energy of a nation rising into a new era. Owners often talk about the feeling of sitting behind the large steering wheel, the smell of aged vinyl seats, the mechanical sound of the throttle linkage, and the steady heartbeat of the engine. It is a vehicle that asks nothing more than honest use, rewarding its driver with a sense of connection that modern automobiles rarely offer. The AK series was built in a time when machines and people worked together, when durability mattered more than speed, and when craftsmanship carried a sense of pride. Today, the Chevrolet AK series stands as a testament to American ingenuity and work ethic. It is remembered not because it was the largest, the strongest, or the fastest, but because it embodied the values of a nation that refused to stand still. The truck helped farmers feed cities, helped workers build industries, helped soldiers maintain readiness, and helped families build futures. It was never meant to be a hero, yet it became one of the quietest and most influential vehicles in American history. The AK series marked the beginning of a lineage that continues through modern Chevrolet Silverados and GMC Sierras. The DNA of American pickups, the mix of strength, comfort, and reliability, can be traced back to its steel frame. In this way, the truck didn't just serve a generation, it shaped an entire culture. It became a symbol of grit and progress, of responsibility and opportunity, of the belief that with the right tool, any challenge can be met head-on. And that is how a humble pickup, introduced without the intention of creating history, became the foundation of an American revolution. It changed how people lived, worked, traveled, and dreamed. From the dusty farms of Iowa to the busy streets of New York, from military bases to construction sites, the Chevrolet AK series left its mark everywhere it went. It became not just a vehicle but a partner, a machine that helped lift a nation and drive it into the modern age. The legacy of the Chevrolet AK series grew stronger as the post-war years unfolded, shaping American culture in ways that few vehicles ever had. As the country entered the era of Reconstruction, suburban expansion, and unprecedented economic optimism, the AK series served as both a relic of the wartime spirit and a tool for building a new national identity. It remained a familiar sight on the roads during the late 1940s, often loaded with lumber, farming tools, furniture, or the ambitions of a family trying to carve out their future. The truck represented stability, and in a world that had survived a global conflict, stability was priceless. Families in newly developed neighborhoods recall hearing the hum of the Thriftmaster six-cylinder echoing between fresh wooden houses as contractors delivered materials and workers dug the foundations of what would become the modern American suburb. In many ways, the AK series was the silent witness to this transformation. It was there when schools were built, when service stations opened, when small grocery stores installed their first signs, and when families gathered for celebrations around the newly constructed homes. The truck became woven into the everyday fabric of American life in a way that even Chevrolet could not have fully predicted. Stories from owners of that era paint a vivid portrait of a machine that solved problems without complaint. Farmers would speak of how the AK pulled through mud-choked fields during spring planting, its leaf spring suspension flexing under the strain but never cracking. Small business owners recall loading the bed with heavy goods far beyond its rated capacity, trusting the rugged frame to support the weight. Young men who had returned from war used their pickups to start first jobs, carry tools, and move supplies as they pursued new careers. It was not uncommon to hear owners describe the truck almost like a member of the family, something dependable, familiar, and always ready. What made this relationship so strong was the simplicity and honesty of the machine. The AK series did not hide behind complex technology or fragile engineering. Everything about it was mechanical, tactile, and understandable. The driver could feel the road through the steering wheel, feel the engine's pulses through the floorboards, and hear every mechanical sound, each one offering a kind of reassurance that the machine was alive and working. In an era before power steering, power brakes, and automated systems, the AK demanded involvement from its driver. Many would later say that this interaction taught them responsibility, discipline, and a deep appreciation for craftsmanship. As the truck aged, its reputation matured with it. Even vehicles that had been heavily used during the war or pushed to their limits during the industrial boom kept running well into the 1950s and early 1960s. Mechanics often praised the durability of the inline-six, noting that many engines surpassed 100,000 miles, an impressive figure for the period, without ever needing major repairs. This reliability cemented the AK series as a symbol of trust. When people saw one driving down the road decades after it first rolled off the assembly line, they saw proof that American engineering, at its best, could endure the test of time. Collectors in the modern era often describe restoring an AK series pickup as a journey into the mechanical soul of the early 1940s. When they remove the hood and examine the simple carburetor, the single-barrel intake, the straight exhaust manifold, and the unpretentious ignition system, they are struck by the elegance in its simplicity. There is something almost poetic about the truck's mechanical straightforwardness, a reminder of a time when machines were built to survive, not just perform. Its frame rails, made of thick stamped steel, show minimal fatigue even after decades of use. The cab, though simple, was engineered with surprising ergonomics. The rounded fenders and characteristic grille continue to draw admiration for their timeless form. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the AK series is how it helped birth an entire culture of automotive individuality and personal expression in America. Many early hot rodders and custom builders found the AK platform perfect for modifications. Its sturdy frame and accommodating engine bay allowed enthusiasts to swap larger or more powerful engines, upgrade suspensions, and experiment with paint schemes that transformed the humble work truck into a symbol of personal identity. In garages across America, young mechanics dismantled and rebuilt AK trucks as acts of creativity and passion. These early customizations eventually grew into the thriving American truck culture that exists today, where trucks are not only tools but reflections of the personalities of their owners. Even beyond personal use, the AK series had an impact on entire industries. Small delivery companies relied on it to expand their routes. Construction businesses counted on its ability to transport heavy loads. Rural communities used it to reach remote areas where roads were little more than dirt paths. In each of these environments, the AK proved itself capable of tasks that would have overwhelmed other vehicles of the era. Its adaptability made it a cornerstone of the American economy during critical decades of growth. The impact of the AK series on General Motors was equally significant. Chevrolet learned that the market was hungry for trucks that offered more than raw utility. People wanted comfort, style, and diversity in their vehicles. This insight led to a wave of innovation that spread throughout GM's truck division. By understanding the needs and dreams of ordinary Americans, the company developed future generations of pickups that continued to prioritize a balance of work capability and everyday usability. Without the AK series as a proving ground, the iconic trucks of the 1950s and 1960s might never have taken shape in the same way. Although production of the AK series ceased in the mid-1940s, its presence lingered in countless towns and farms. Many AK trucks simply refused to disappear. They remained on duty long after modern trucks entered the market, sometimes becoming the backup truck or farm truck that refused to quit. Owners would often keep them running with minimal effort, a new carburetor here, a fresh set of spark plugs there, maybe some paint to cover rust on the fenders. Even when they were retired from regular service, AK trucks were often parked in barns or garages rather than discarded. Something about their character made them too valuable to throw away. As the decades passed, nostalgia began to surround the AK series. It no longer represented only utility but an entire era of American life, a time when the country rebuilt itself through hard work, determination, and optimism. Car shows in the 1970s and 1980s featured beautifully restored examples, each one attracting crowds of people drawn to the simplicity and charm of the classic design. Fathers would bring their children to see the truck that carried them to school in the 1940s. Veterans would pause to talk about the military versions they used during training. Collectors would admire the craftsmanship and whisper stories about the historical significance of each detail. The revival of classic American vehicles in the early 2000s further elevated the AK series to iconic status. Restoration shops began specializing specifically in pre-war and wartime Chevrolet trucks. Owners from all over the world sought out original models, even those in poor condition, eager to breathe new life into the machine that had shaped American history. The truck's increasing rarity only enhanced its value, and to this day, finding an untouched, original AK series is considered a prize in the collector community. Looking back, it becomes clear that the AK series was more than a vehicle, it was a bridge between eras. It connected the agricultural America of the early 20th century with the industrial powerhouse that would emerge after the war. It served as the backbone of thousands of small businesses that grew into national brands. It supported soldiers on bases preparing for missions overseas. It gave returning veterans the means to build families, homes, and futures. And it set the stage for the evolution of the modern American pickup truck, a category that would eventually become one of the most important and profitable segments in the automotive world. The spirit of the AK series can still be felt today in the trucks that dominate American highways. When a modern pickup offers a blend of comfort, strength, and reliability, it is following a template that the AK helped establish. The values that made the AK successful, durability, practicality, and a deep connection to the needs of working people, remain the foundation of American truck design. The truck may no longer roam the streets in large numbers, but its influence is everywhere. Ultimately, the Chevrolet AK series began as a response to a growing nation's needs, but it became something far greater. It became a symbol of resilience in wartime, a companion in peace, and a tool for building dreams. It represented a promise that with hard work, determination, and the right machine by your side, anything was possible. Generations of Americans lived that promise behind the wheel of an AK pickup. This is why, more than 80 years after its debut, the AK series remains revered. Not because it was the most powerful truck, or the most luxurious, or the rarest, but because it carried the weight of a nation during one of its most transformative chapters. It became a partner to millions and helped shape the very identity of the United States. For many, it is proof that greatness can come from humble beginnings. A simple pickup, built with care and purpose, became the starting point of a revolution that still echoes today. The Chevrolet AK series lives on in stories, in restored examples, in photographs of dusty farms and newly built suburbs, and in the collective memory of a country that found strength in its simplicity. Those who drive it today experience not just a classic vehicle but a living piece of history, a reminder of where America has been and how far it has come. And in that sense, the AK series continues its journey, carrying with it the legacy of the countless lives it touched along the way.